Hello, and welcome back to Living 757. Lots of people have getting physically healthy as one of their New Year's resolutions, but now more than ever, it is equally as important to take care of your mental health. With us today is Rachel Andine, host of the Living Freely podcast. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Rachel, welcome.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what your podcast entails?
Absolutely. So I'm a licensed professional counselor. I've been in the field now since 2005. I can hardly believe it. It's gone by so quickly. But I am collaborating with the Norfolk Public Library System and was asked to host Living Freely podcast, where we really specialize in offering very down-to-earth, realistic strategies to help everyone live life well. I know that 2020 was such a hard year, so we really wanted to provide this resource and just make it very accessible so anybody can tune in and receive some great strategies.
Yes, and you just mentioned right that just exactly the point, Rachel, when you say we have a very tough year. What tips you can give us to stay healthy at home with so much restrictions that we have right now in these times?
Absolutely. So my go-to is always what I call the 3 pillars of wellness. So on the most basic level, when stress gets really high, when anxiety gets really high, or even depression enters the scene, one of the first and best things you can do is assess these 3 different things. What are you putting in your body? How much are you, eating? What are you eating? At the end of the day, food is medicine, food is fuel. Are you not even eating enough? And then also monitoring what substances am I using? Alcohol, drugs, all of the above can even affect the next pillar, which is sleep. So like I said, very basic, but just even checking in, how much sleep are you getting? So once again, when stress, anxiety, and even depression enters the picture, these things can really go by the wayside. So how much sleep? And then last but not least, how often and what are you doing to physically move your body? So we know at the end of the day, research shows that exercise is a healing agent. It helps us to release anxiety and depression, and it's just overall great for mental and physical health.
Amazing.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Some things that we need to put in practice every day.
You got it. And then also, of course, right now there are so many therapists who are working online. And so if folks aren't feeling safe about going into a doctor's office, online telemedicine is just as effective. Just like we're doing our interviews here, it's kind of the new wave of this year. So don't be scared to reach out and try that telehealth service as well for therapy.
Now, are there any ways that you recommend to kind of woosah when you're at home by yourself? Are there any exercises that you do?
Absolutely. So just recently, I don't have a formal regimented practice, but I do like to meditate. So whether it's just focusing on my breathing, I think sometimes when we get very stressed out, it's so easy for your shoulders to get really clenched up or just lose sight of your breath. And breath, the reason I love it is that it's free, it's accessible, you can use it anytime. So that deep breathing, I know there are a lot of parents who are at home and they are trying to teach their kids and work. So even creating lists, having some kind of organizational strategy, all can be so helpful. But we're all, I think, just trying to do the best that we can in this stressful time.
Yes, and I think we saw with these COVID times, maybe couples that they're not used to be together for a long time. Do you have any tips for them? And also, you think that set up new resolutions with a lot of restriction is a good idea?
So I'm more so into intention. So there's actually a whole body of research that shows that resolutions are not always as effective. It almost sets a person up for these unrealistic goals sometimes. I love the thought behind it, but instead, what would be your intention? In evaluating the previous year, what went really well? What didn't you like about the year? How you handled it, your emotional status, and then setting intentions. I will learn to communicate better. I will better manage anger, all of the above, and really creating to live that intention.
Great. Thank you so much, Rachel.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me. Yes. Take care. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And also, Ashley, during this COVID time, we saw a lot of people needs more assistance with staying healthy, but not just mentally. We also need help with the physical stuff. So our next guest is going to teach us some important tips. Welcome, Robert II.
Hello, hi. Well, nice to hear.
How are you, Rob?
I'm doing good. So nice to be here.
Yes, Happy New Year. Thanks for being with us today. Robert, you are a personal development expert and also creator of the Muscle to Bone Fitness System. Can you talk about that?
Yes, yes. It has been such a joy to actually have the opportunity to help really good people become great. And it's more than just physical, it's mind, body, and spirit. And you can only operate at a harmonious state. With the muscle to bone fitness system that I designed, it actually works with the cognitive as well as the physical. And it allows you to actually exercise without having to use weights. A lot of times we get so restricted with thinking that we have to go to a gym when you can do a lot of things right in your own home.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
yeah, Rob. So with it being a new year, everyone wants to get back in shape, of course. What are the most talked about problem areas that people come to you for?
Well, for some reason, everyone has this ideal weight that they think that they should reach. Maybe they looked at someone in a magazine or they saw a recent commercial. I try to tell people, you worry about you. Stay where you're supposed to be. Don't worry about where someone else told you where you're supposed to be. A lot of times we look at this subliminal messaging, and we have to understand that in order to reach our own personal goal, it has to first start off in our mind. Once we develop a thought, then that transfers into our feelings. It changes our attitude, mood, and behavior. And from there, then we can finally develop the habits and take the action that we need to physically and mentally get to where we want to be.
Wow, nice, nice. So again, are there any problem areas that we should all focus on?
Well, to each his own. There's no cookie cutter approach for each person. So let's just say one person has a problem with their inner thighs. You want to do what is shown here, which is your sumo squats and your
Yeah.
leg lunges. Someone else might have problems with their abs, or they want to work on, say, that little roll that's towards the back of them. They call their little roll there. So what happens is you have to find out which area for you that you want to target, and then specifically do those exercises that will target that area.
Wait, so you need to target all your areas.
All of them. Now, I struggle to find motivation to work out, especially at home. Now that we're like confined to our houses, a lot of people don't feel safe going in gyms. I bought a Peloton because I needed that drive. Do you have any tips for people like me who struggle to find motivation to just get up and work out at home?
Very good. Well, picture in your mind where you want to be, okay? A lot of people talk about setting realistic goals. In reality, there is no such thing as a realistic goal because that's that goal for them. You have to find out what the goal is for you. And knowing that it's almost like a tree, one small chop at a time is the only way that you can accomplish your goal. We can't just knock down the tree in one big swoop. So in order to develop that chop and just follow this tree analogy, we have to develop a target. So let's target in one specific area that we want to attack. Let's just say it's your fitness level. Instead of just walking to the mailbox, let's do a jog to the mailbox, okay? Instead of just worrying about trying to get to a gym, let's do 10 push-ups each morning, or at least get 15 minutes of exercise in each day. Also, look at your food intake. That is really important as well, too. Are we eating breakfast every day? Breakfast actually is very, very important. You're looking at the keyword breakfast, which means break fast. This is the 7 or 8 hours that you went to bed with no nutrition coming in your body whatsoever. So it's time to now replenish your body, hydrate your body, and get your mind right. So I would say wake up in the morning with a battle plan. Every single day should be exciting. And this way you should find that motivation to say, where were you in the year 2002, right? Now, where are you now? World Trade Center, now look where you are now. And say to yourself, where do I want to be 20 years from now? In order to get to where you want to be, you first have to develop a plan of where you currently are. And don't beat yourself up. It's actually time to get excited. A lot of these kind of emotions where we feel so frustrated, when in reality, when your blood pressure starts to rise and you start to feel down, now it's time for you to get excited to say, this is where I'm doing now to get to where I want to be later on. So yeah, your motivation needs to be about you being, say, a healthy 50, 60, 70-year-old. That's the motivation. So now we never have to look at a wedding dress or a bathing suit. We're looking at
the bathing suit.
70 years old.
Hold on, time out, Rob. So what you're saying is I need to get rid of hip hop abs.
Yes,
And that's a good example. Do whatever is good for you. Like say dance, for example. That is one of the best exercises that you can do. Just
Right.
dancing in the house, turn on some music. We get so stuck in this regiment where we think we have to do 10 push-ups, we have to do 15 squats.
Right.
What's fun for you?
That's
Get yourself
great.
active.
That's
Try
great,
to get
Robert.
active. Do a little salsa dancing. Do something that just is fun for you. Exercise is not a chore. It's
I
not
like
like, oh, stay here. Exercise is something that should be enjoyable. Not to mention it actually produces happy hormones. Dopamine,
Yes.
okay?
And that's amazing, Robert. Thank you so much. We can see right here on the screen we have so many addresses that you can follow Robert and find more information right there. You can go to his website, also YouTube account. Thank you so much for your tips. This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's right. Great tips to start off the new year. But what do jalapenos, lemons, and hot sauce have to do with either of us? Well, you got to stick around to find out what new game we're playing next. See you in a few.